from a different star, flying over streets and our broken hearts. But they can't even touch us, we found a different beat. Paradise is waiting and we bought the lead. Ooh, getting caught in the mist, there's so many that never get out of. They're feeding the fears and the doubts.
Morning, Casbro. Good. I haven't done my vocal warm-up, sorry. It's a beautiful day, look at that blue sky. And we are off to the riding club area dressage summer qualifier. So dressage on grass, which if you've watched the combined training qualifier will know that is not Mega's favourite, but we have got studs this time. So I'm hoping that that is going to help our situation. And obviously I've taken some learnings away from that day, which are things like don't really square off my corners like I would in a surface, because she's not as agile on grass. And see how we get on. How are we this morning, my love? Looking very chilled. We are doing Novice 24 today, so that's the other difference. We are in a long arena today, so we have got a little bit more space. And I think I did say on Instagram recently, like I do sometimes like us doing the short arenas because it does have to make her sit and wait. But on a surface, we've decided not on grass. So I'm glad we've got the extra 20 meters today. So yes, we're doing Novice 23 and Elementary 43. So stepping up on grass could be interesting. Yeah, I don't think our mediums are probably going to have be at the level that they need to be, because it has rained quite a bit this week. So probably going to err on the side of caution for the mediums, but hopefully everything else should be nice. You look a bit sleepy. She said you can't even see me. It's a bit dark in my shadow. Should we get you a brekkie? Yep. Oh, big yawn. Good girl. Yummy, yummy, tasty breakfast. Time to get these plats rolled up. Massage pad is on. Having a little lunch. Dressage is over there. Okay, here we go, straight into it, Novice 23. So we head up the centre line, and I feel like she's got a really good purpose to her trot here. She could be a little rounder, I would say, in her frame, but we scored a 7 with a comment of fairly straight. We then track left and we do a change of rein with some medium trot strides across the diagonal. We scored a 7 for this with a comment of promising start, slight loss of balance, which I completely agree with. I think there was capability to get a higher mark there if we hadn't have had that loss of balance. We then do a 15-meter circle at A. We scored a 6.5 for this with a comment of needs more bend, which, yeah, I can see there. She's not supple enough around my inside leg. We then changed the rein across the diagonal again, showing some medium trot strides, and this is where we scored an 8 with a comment of better balance and good steps. I mean, yeah, look at the power. Loving that. We then repeat what we've just done on the other rein and do a 15-meter circle at C. We scored a 7 for this. There was no comment, but I do think she was better in terms of the bend and the suppleness this way, which is actually quite common with my left hand. When it's on the inside, we tend to get a little bit better. We then pick up canter between C and H, and then at E, circle left 20 meters with a given retake of the reins when crossing the centre line for the second time. And you can just see she has lost her soft frame in front, and the canter looks a little bit choppy, but we still scored a 7 with a comment of clear release, more suppleness over the back, which, like I said, I can clearly see that. We then have a mark for E to F working canter. We scored a 7 with no comment. And then between F and R show some medium canter strides. And then between M and C come back to working trot. I thought that was quite bold. I don't think I had much say in that. We scored a 7. And then between C and H come back to medium walk, and then H and S there's a mark for medium walk as well. We scored a 7 with a comment of could be a little more forward, which, yeah, sometimes we just lack that impulsion when we come back down to a walk straight away. We then changed the rein in a free walk on a long rein, S to P. We scored a 7. That's a double mark, and there's a comment of more stretch down, which, yes, she's nice and relaxed, but I completely agree. She could actually have a little bit more purpose as well, but take that nose down and forward. Then at P, we transition into medium walk, and then between F and A, transition to working trot. We scored a 6 with a comment of against the bit, which, yes, unfortunately, Mega anticipates the transitions, so we get a bit of tension there. Between A and K, pick up working canter, and then repeat what we've done on the other rein. At E, do a 20-metre circle with a give and retake when we're crossing the centre line for the second time. We scored a 6.5 with a comment of clear release, but not always accepting the contact, which is true and a shame. Then along here, she goes a little bit wobbly and loses her balance. So then we lost the canter, and I then had to pick it back up again. So sadly, we scored a 4 with a comment of broke. Then between M and P, show some medium canter strides. Going back to working canter at P, we scored a 6.5, more acceptance of the bit, which is completely fair. I think the whole breaking of the canter unsettled her, and then asking her to go forward, she was resistant. Then we come back down to working trot at A, and then from K we allow the horse to stretch and then do a half 20-metre circle V to P, and we scored a 7.5 with a comment of nice stretch, a little more bend, which is so true. Something I've noticed when I give away the contact a little bit more, it's harder to keep that suppleness, so we need to work on that. We then pick up the reins, turn back down the centre line. We scored a 7 for that, and then we scored a 7 for our halt with a comment of could be a little straighter. A lot to like, but not always able to work through to a supple contact to get the higher marks, which is completely fair. Well, that is the first test done and dusted, as you can probably tell by my red, sweaty face and my wet hair. She was really good in the warm-up, like really rideable, really sitting. The studs are obviously making a big difference because she felt much more secure on her feet today. And then we went in the ring and she did really lovely trot work, actually. Like her medium trots felt really good, like probably better than she's done on a surface in a while. And then the canter, she just wanted to do everything fast. So our medium canters were a bit bold after me saying I didn't want to be doing them bold. And just tension, like if she tries to go fast, I then tend to get a bit tense down the rein, and that just makes her uptight in general. So that will have affected our canter mark. And then I think you'll have seen, actually, I think hopefully it shows on the video, but in the last bit of canter before the last medium canter, she like sort of went a bit wobbly. I think she nearly trod on one of the boards and that like lost her balance, and she ended up breaking, so we had to pick canter back up then. So yeah, it's by no means going to be our best test, but it certainly had a lot more nicer bits in it than the test at the combined training on grass. So we shall see. I'm just walking. There's another show on here, and like a little, I think they've got like show jumping workers, some showing classes. I'm just going to go to the trade stand to see if I can find some fly spray, because I thought we had some in the lorry, but apparently we don't. So that's where I'm off to now, because we've got about an hour gap before we do our Ellie test, and I told Mega we don't need quite that amount of enthusiasm for the Ellie because it's all going to come up a little bit quicker. Pray for me. Oh my gosh, the cutest thing ever. Look at it, little shade. So we've got some workers, some showing going on in front of the lovely house. And then there's the show jumping over there. There's the tack shop, which I've just visited and bought my fly spray. Let's head back. Next on to elementary 43, and I think this is the first time that I've ever done this test. But we proceed up the centre line and halt at X and salute to the judge. We scored a 7 with no comment from the judge, but I'm pretty happy with that, fairly square. We then proceed up the centre line and track right. You then do working trot to B and do a half circle 10 metres to X and then X to E, another half 10. We scored a 6.5 for the first half circle with a comment of a little more bend, and then we scored a 7 for the second half circle with no comment, which I was pretty pleased with. And then we continue down to A and turn up the centre line. That was included in our mark that we've just had, the 7. Turn up the centre line, and then from D do a leg yield to S. We scored a 6 with a comment of quarters trailing, which, yes, that is my hardest way to do a leg yield. I'm not very good at stopping her shoulders from leading, and is something we need to work on. We then repeat it on the other rein, so turn down the centre line and leg yield right to V. We scored a 7 for this one. You can see she's just much more connected, and I'm catching that shoulder, so I was really pleased with that. No comment from the judge. We then proceed in working trot round to F and then change the rein in medium trot to S. We scored a 7 with a comment of a bit hurried, which, yeah, I think I just you can see there the rhythm just changed slightly, where I'm letting it go out the front rather than holding on to the power and letting her come through to the bridle, but still pleased with that. Then we transitioned to collected trot at S. We scored a 7 for that. Transition to medium walk at C. We scored a 7 for that again. And then change the rein, free walk in a long rein, RXV, which we scored a 7.5 for. And again, double marked with a comment of a bit more stretched down and purpose, which is literally what I've just said in the previous test, and completely agree. Like, she's really relaxed, she's swinging, but could just have a little bit more oomph and take that nose down more. We then come back up into medium walk at V to A, and then at A, we pick up canter, and we score a 4 because we picked up the wrong leg, which was such a shame. You can see she's anticipating it coming, and yeah, it was such a shame she struck off on the wrong leg. Obviously really balanced, but we were quick to correct it, and then we go straight into a 15-metre circle, which we scored a 6.5 for, second half large, which I think was because I had that mishap. It threw us a little bit. We then changed the rein, F to E, and then there's counter canter, E to H. We scored a 6.5 of a comment of quarters out. And then we trot at H and pick up canter at C. We scored a 7 for that. And then again, straight into that 15-metre circle at C, and we scored a 7. So you can see she's much more relaxed and settled. She hates getting things wrong. She really wants to please, bless her. So that was reflective in the marks. We then changed the rein, M to E, and then there's counter canter, E to K. We scored a 7.5 for that. Better control of the straightness, which, yeah, we've been working on in my lessons, and actually that's a me problem, not a mega problem. So I was pleased with that. We come back to working trot at K and working canter at A, and we scored a 6. Comment of above the bit. There's medium canter along the long side. We scored a 7. Collected canter at M, and then collected trot at H. We scored a 7 for that. I was really pleased with how she came back to me there. And then at E, we do a half 10 circle to the centre line. Proceed down the centre line, X to G, and then halt at G. We scored a 6.5 with a comment of could show more bend, E to X, pity quarters left of halt. But a comment of a nice test, movements come up quick, and at times a little more forward prep to help fluency and balance with the straightness. We're all finished, plats are out, Maggie's having a well-deserved munch. Good girlie. Whilst Meg is having a little hand graze, Look who we can see warming up over there. Rosie and Jack. So we got 67.92% and came fourth in the Novice, and 67.75 I think, and came third in the elementary. So all round, a great day. Just got back and I have popped Megwin out in the field. I've just given all of the Herberts, including this one, their dinner so that they can stay out for a little bit longer, and then I'll come and fetch them in when it's actually getting dark and it's getting a bit cooler. But yeah, I am actually, despite the couple of mishaps we had in both tests, which were unfortunate, I'm actually really pleased with how she went. I feel like her way of going was much more connected, like back end to front end, less so in the Novice, in the canter particularly, but definitely in the elementary. I completely agree with what the judges' feedback was, which was to basically, for me to prepare for everything that comes up a little bit quicker in an elementary. The judge, I think, has judged me a few times, so I think she probably does know that I'm quite new to the level and can perhaps see that in some of the ways that I'm riding, and that I'm leaving it a bit till last minute before I actually let Megan know what's coming next. But yeah, I was overall really pleased with her. We got an 8 for one of our medium trots, which is unheard of, so super chuffed with that. And yeah, it's like really positive knowing that, you know, she still got the scores and the results that she did today, even though I know there's, you know, some improvements to be made. And therefore, who knows what the end result could have been had everything gone all to plan. But that is horses, isn't it? It's never going to be a perfect day every day, and I never take that for granted. So yes, I will leave you with little Popo and say thank you for watching. I hope you have enjoyed coming along for the ride, and I will see you for another vlog very soon. Bye guys.